Ukraine's president is in Brussels today to present his victory plan to both EU leaders and NATO defense ministers. Volodymyr Zelensky's pitch comes as Kyiv struggles to repel Russian advances on the battlefield. Earlier, he had held a phone conversation with the US President Joe Biden. This as he gears up for his farewell trip to Germany. Now, one element in Zelensky's plan includes an immediate invitation to join the NATO military alliance, which both Germany and the United States are opposed to.
An immediate invitation to Ukraine to join NATO would be decisive. Of course, membership would follow later. Putin just must see that his geopolitical calculations are worthless. And an invitation now with membership later will have no political cost. It's a strong decision that requires nothing but determination.
We can now go across to our European Affairs editor, Armin Georgian, standing by in Brussels for us. Armin, good afternoon. Ukraine's president has been speaking. What more has Volodymyr Zelensky been saying?
Well, this is a major diplomatic outreach by Zelensky today in Brussels. He's been addressing not only EU leaders, but also, or he will be speaking also to the heads of the party groups in the European Parliament, the President of the European Parliament, and crucially, NATO officials as well at NATO headquarters. So he's really trying to mobilize all of the European resources that might be available to him for this peace formula, as he put it. And really the emphasis of his remarks when he was speaking with the head of the European Council, Charles Michel, it was really about deterrence. So he was really urging EU member states to give Ukraine those deterrent capabilities, because he was underlining that he doesn't want any peace to be based on Ukrainian military weakness. He doesn't want a peace that will lead to a new war. So on the one hand, he said he's not that he's open to negotiations with President Putin, but that there has to be a strong Ukrainian military and economic basis for any such negotiations, and that's really where his EU and NATO partners come in.
Armin, what is he realistically expecting from Europe, given that, like Kyiv, the EU is also in wait-and-see mode with what happens over in the United States with the election in a couple of weeks' time?
Yeah, well, the key sticking point there is that from the Europeans' perspective and from Zelensky's point of view, the Hungarian government is saying, let's see what happens in the US election, effectively, before deciding on disbursing more aid. And of course, that is something that most EU leaders don't share that approach, and indeed they want to be able to send a strong signal to Ukraine now before the US presidential election. And there's really two parts to that. You've got, first of all, the European peace facility through which military aid to Ukraine is provided, and Hungary has been effectively blocking 6.6 billion euros in transfers to Ukraine through the European Peace Facility. So that's something that President Zelensky will try to, try to persuade Viktor Orban on, the Hungarian Prime Minister. But also there's this question of aid through the combined G7 and EU plan. And that is something also that President Zelensky wants to see movement on now. And the EU is responsible for really the lion's share of that pledge to help Ukraine. So again, that is something that Zelensky pointed to as being crucial now, because Ukraine, of course, is entering winter, which is always a very difficult time for Ukraine in terms of its energy infrastructure, the position that civilians are in during the winter months, and more broadly, of course, Ukraine's military capabilities over the winter.